Look, if you're a locum CRNA, you're not just a clinician. You're a business. And your contract, that's your business plan. But hidden in all that fine print are these little traps that can cost you a ton of money, block your career moves, and shift some massive legal risk right onto your shoulders. So, let's decode the 5 biggest red flags you absolutely have to find and fix before you even think about signing anything.
So you've got a brand new locum contract sitting in your inbox. That's awesome. It's a really exciting moment, right? A new opportunity, maybe a new city. But before you get totally swept up in that excitement, you've got to stop. Just pump the brakes because honestly, the most important work you're going to do for this new assignment happens right now, before you sign. We're about to dig into 5 hidden traps that are usually buried in all that legal speak.
And look, these are not minor details we're talking about. These are 5 critical red flags that can seriously mess with your finances and your career flexibility. So let's jump right into the first one. Okay, red flag number 1, legal traps. This is all about what happens when things go south. You have a disagreement with the agency, let's say over your pay. Believe me, the contract has already laid out the rules for that fight, and spoiler alert, they are probably not in your favor.
So, you're scrolling through the contract and you see something that looks just like this. At first glance, it seems fair, right? Prevailing party, the winner, gets their legal fees paid. But here's the thing, in the real world, this creates a huge power imbalance. So what this is a nasty little thing called fee shifting. And here's how it plays out. Let's say the agency messes up and shorts your paycheck by $5,000. If you sue them to get your money back and you lose, well, you're not just out $5,000. You could be on the hook for their fancy corporate lawyer fees. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars. It basically makes it way too risky for you to ever fight for what you're owed. Okay, so how do you fix this? It's actually pretty simple. You need to hunt down any mention of prevailing party and negotiate to get it struck out. Your goal is to replace it with simple language that says each side pays for its own legal fees. That's it. That levels the playing field. And while you're at it, watch out for another legal trap. A lot of these contracts make you give up your right to join a class action lawsuit. So what does that mean? It means if an agency is screwing over, say, 20 different CRNAs in the exact same way, each one of you has to fight them all by yourself. It's way more expensive and a lot more work, which is exactly what they want.
All right, let's move on to red flag number 2. I call this one the career handcuffs, and it's all about how a contract can block you from landing a fantastic permanent job. A lot of locum gigs are basically a try before you buy for both you and the hospital. It's a great way to see if it's a good fit. But then, you see this clause. It pretty much says that if the hospital absolutely loves you and offers you a full-time job, you can't take it for 2 whole years. Unless, of course, the agency gets a massive finder's fee.
That 2-year number? That is a huge red flag. It's just not reasonable. In today's market, a fair compromise is somewhere between 6 to 12 months tops. So that should be your target when you negotiate. And here's a pro tip. Get really specific. That restriction shouldn't apply to the entire health system with all its hospitals and clinics. No way. If you worked at Hospital A, the clause should only apply to Hospital A. That leaves you totally free to take a job at Hospital B, right across town, even if that's part of the same system. Okay, so red flag number 3 is a little different. It's not about a sneaky clause that's in the contract, but it's about what's missing. And this is a big one, because it's about the huge financial weight that lands squarely on your shoulders as a 1099 contractor. Look, that high hourly rate they offer you, it can look really, really tempting, but you have to remember, it's not just income. It's your entire budget. It's got to pay for your health insurance, it has to fund your retirement, you need to buy your own disability coverage, and oh yeah, there's no workers' comp. If you get hurt on the job, that's on you. So, what's the bottom line here? You have to remember this number. A good rule of thumb is that 30 to 40% of every single paycheck needs to be immediately set aside. That's for your taxes and all those benefits. If you don't do this, I promise you, tax season is going to be an absolute nightmare. Okay, let's talk about red flag number 4, surprise pay deductions. This is all about how some innocent-looking, vague language can basically give an agency a blank check to take money right out of your paycheck, often without even telling you. When you see a phrase like this, alarm bells should be going off. It's a massive red flag because it is completely open-ended. What exactly are expenses or damages? Who decides? Without a crystal clear definition, the agency could use this to charge you for anything.
travel booking fees, onboarding costs, even made-up cancellation fees if a schedule gets shuffled. It's a huge risk.
The fix here is absolutely non-negotiable. You cannot, under any circumstances, give an agency the right to just dip into your pay whenever they want. The green flag, the language you need to insist on, is something that explicitly requires your written pre-approval before they can deduct a single cent. You have to be in control.
All right, we've saved the biggest, most critical red flag for last. This one is called the ultimate shield, or maybe the lack of one. We're talking about indemnification, and if you're not careful, this one clause can make you personally responsible for the agency's legal bills.
So this is what it looks like. Provider shall indemnify and hold harmless. It looks like standard legal mumbo-jumbo, but it carries an insane amount of risk. See, this is a one-way street. It's a promise where you agree to protect them.
Let's be super clear about what indemnify actually means in this context. It means you are promising to pay for the agency's lawyers and any money they have to pay out in a lawsuit. And this can happen even if you did nothing wrong. It can cover business disputes that have absolutely nothing to do with your clinical care. You are literally becoming their insurance policy. It's wild.
Okay, so this clause is a total landmine. But the good news is you can diffuse it. Here's your 3-step fix. First, you have to limit it. You only agree to cover losses that are a direct result of your proven negligence or willful misconduct, nothing else. Second, you make it mutual. If their mistake costs you money, they have to cover you too. And third, you demand, in writing, that the agency's or the hospital's malpractice insurance is the primary policy. It has to be the first line of defense, not you.
Okay, that was a lot, I know. So let's boil it all down into a simple negotiation toolkit. For fee shifting, your goal is simple. Each side pays their own lawyers. For non-competes, you're shooting for 6 to 12 months and only at the specific place you worked. For pay deductions, the magic words are written approval. And for indemnification, you limit your liability to your own proven negligence. That's your cheat sheet.
So when it's all said and done, it really comes down to this. Don't let the fine print run your career. Your signature is the most powerful tool you have. You have to ask yourself, are you using it to build a business that values you and protects you, or are you just signing on to accept a whole bunch of unnecessary risk?